Hello, this is Coco. Today I want to show you this. This is my Eurorack modular system. And please stay with me, don't run away. Euroracks are not scary. They're nice, yeah. Just the nature of it, when you put small modules together, it looks a bit messy. I'm trying to make it look neat though. Like each and every module here on a modular is typically simple to grasp, but as time goes on and the modular scene is exploring and maturing, some really hard, more deep modules are appearing. One such module is what I'm going to focus on today. It's called NerdSeq. It's a tracker sequencer. A tracker is a sequencer that runs vertically. Like typically hardware sequencers, they run horizontally, but trackers, they run vertically. There's a little screen here to program the tracker with. And to explain the difference, is like one line of code when you're programming something in a regular programming language is like one instruction, some arguments, maybe even call a subroutine. It's the same thing here. One line is like one note. How long can it be? Maybe you specify some effect parameters on it. And you can even call a little subroutine, like call an arpeggiator that says, hey, don't play it one time, but play it 3 times in a successive order to play a little arpeggiated chord. And then each and every line can do stuff like that. It's very precise. This way of sequences is super tight and super precise. And I'm really interested because what I typically like when I create music is to really compose and create music super tightly, and the tracker is a great way of doing that. It has 6 tracks for CV, gate, trigs, and modulation, and 2 tracks for sample playback. There are as well a couple of expanders that I don't have to have even more output. Yeah, so yeah, I want to show you how to use it, how to sequence some of my basic modules here, and how to modulate other effects. And yeah, let's dig into it. It's not going to be a super mega tutorial, I think, but yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so let's turn it on. So everything is booting up. This is booting up and trying to see if there's any expanders connected. There is no expanders connected, but this one, which is indeed an expander, is connected, but this is one of the default expanders that is considered to be part of the base model. So yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit basic in the beginning here. So if you're not familiar with modular that much, I'm going to explain a little bit for you. So each and every module here does one specific thing and one thing only. Like this is an oscillator. It generates sound. This is the same one, and by combining them you can make some FM synthesis, for instance. This is an envelope and a VCA in the same unit. This is a buffered multiplier, which can take one signal in and send the same signal to several sources and destinations. And yeah, there's a kick drum and so forth, a beautiful filter, a delay reverb, and this is the one we're going to talk mostly about today. It's a sequencer, but it also plays samples, so it's more than just a standard sequencer. Yeah. So the first thing we notice here is this window here. This is what's called a sequencer window. You can see it up here, sequencer. And we can see it down there too, sequencer. In the sequencer, in the menus, you can move around by using these buttons. These are kind of like arrow buttons. And when you press these buttons, these are kind of menus or windows or places in the system to go, modes. You can see there are actually each of these buttons, they've got a label on top, above, and the label below. The label below is the one that happens if you just press it like this, sequencer. But if you press shift and the same button, it becomes what's called mark above it. And you can see this red marking here, and now I'm marking a space. And then when I press shift and mark again, I was actually copying that to later be place that copy somewhere. Okay, we got pattern. If I press pattern here, nothing happens right now because I haven't created any patterns yet. And we got delete. Patch is a place to make some settings. We got table, which is a way to make arpeggios and stuff like that. Record, I'm gonna exit, but I'm not sure there is an exit button actually. So if I'm in a place like this and I want to exit, I just press where I want to go instead of pressing exit. So pressing shift and record will start recording. You can see this little record symbol up there. Pressing shift and record again is toggling between record and play. And also if you pay attention now, you can see this little red thing in the top here. It's moving. So it's indicating it's indeed playing. And we can see this is flashing as well. And we haven't even pressed play, but record only functions in play mode. So it started to play for us. By pressing stop, nothing really seems to happen. But what it's doing is like it's going to stop this particular track from playing. And if I press start, it's going to start the particular track that I have selected. If I press shift and stop, I'm going to stop everything right now, immediately. Yeah, and the same with start. If I press shift and start, can't see it now, but it's going to start the whole row there at the same time. Okay, furthermore, we've got automate. I don't know this page very well, but you can create an LFO here, for instance, which is cool. The nerd one, shift and nerd. We can't seem to access that from here, so I'm going to go to the sequencer, press shift and nerd. Okay, some stuff there. Shift and setup. Some stuff we can set up there. Just project. I can load a project, save a project, load samples. Okay, so basically that's the menus. So let's create a first pattern. I'm going to do that by going to mark a place. I'm going to place it on the first available empty slot there and press OK. By pressing OK, it's immediately creating an empty project pattern. Sorry, and if I press OK again, now when that one is selected, it's going to immediately open that up. What it's doing, it's actually pressing pattern for me. I can do that thing. It's the same thing. So cool. It's an empty pattern. At the beginning, it could be a little bit difficult to see the difference between the main sequencer place and the pattern. Both have these empty places with dashes. But if you pay attention up here, you can see in the sequencer, we can see a little the number of the tracks. You can see it says sequencer, no name at the moment, BPM, and the graphical representation of what's gonna be sent out on these ports. On pattern, we can see this looks the same, but it's different. Yeah, it says pattern up there, and if we select different lanes here, we can see, or columns, we can also see down here, you can read what it is. So note, patch, table, trigger, modulate, effects. Actually, there are several effects, like effect 1, 2, 3, 4. In the end there is a groove lane or row, sorry, column. Okay, yeah, so let's create a first note and see what it does. I'm just gonna, it's not the same here. Pressing OK doesn't create something for you. Shift and the arrows is gonna create something for you. So in every slot or place, you can press shift and use the arrows to create. So create a note, shift to the right. To the right, if I keep pressing to the right, it's going to increase the pitch one semitone each time. The left is going to lower the pitch one semitone. Up is going to take it up a whole octave. Down is going to take it down an octave. So now we just create our first note there. It's a C4. Nice. So what does it sound like? Well, let's try it out. In order to make it sound, we're going to use an oscillator. I'm going to use this Spectrum here. This is a very nice and fairly simple to understand, but with lots of nice possibilities. I'm going to take the triangle sound, just send it to a mixer, and then I'm going to record the mixer. There we go. It's a tone. Okay, so in order to send this note to this volume, the whole thing with modulars is to send control voltage between the different modules. So we're going to start doing that now. This is going to control this, and it's going to control other things. Okay, so I'm going to take the CV coming out of CV track 1. Going to send it to the volt per octave. Okay, let's listen to it. Ooh. Super low. Let's play it. Shift and start. There we go. Right now, there's nothing telling this to stop. It's sending a CV signal, and it's continuing to sending that CV signal. So nothing telling it to stop and start this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send this sound from the oscillator into an envelope and a VCA. This is a module that has an envelope and a VCA. So instead of sending the sound, I'm going to break it, and I'm going to send the sound into the envelope VCA. In there and out there. We hear no sound, right? Because there's nothing telling the VCA to open up with an envelope. So we're going to use the trigger output here and see if we can generate some sound. If we're not telling it to send trigs, it's going to send gates. So it's better to treat it as gates for now. Okay, so I'm going to send the trigger output there into the gate here instead of a trig, because a gate has the ability to stay open for a while and then close, mimicking a key on and the key off. So let's play it now and see what happens. Shift and start. Okay, it's open. Press shift and stop. It's closed. That's nice. But when we're looking here at the sequencer that starts running, like immediately when pressing shift and start, you can see this little white indicator there running down. And it's just looking for instructions of how to go about. Gonna open up the... There is nothing telling it to lift the finger. It's just pressing it. And it's gonna keep it pressed until you tell it to stop. So we're gonna do that now. Down here, instead of creating a new note, I'm gonna press shift and delete, which is gonna toggle this icon there. That means stop the gate. Press again. Nice. And since this is an envelope, I can use the release time there. Like so. Yeah, nice. So this is like the fundamental. Create a note, catch the CV value to create a pitch value and control the pitch of something, and catch the gate and control how long a note is going to be pressed. Okay, so let's keep creating a couple of notes there. I'm going to delete this gate and I'm going to say, I'm going to highlight something. When I press shift and right, it's gonna the cursor is going to stay there and we can continue to do stuff. However, if I press up, it's going to place the note and move on. Place the note and move on. Only if you want to move on, press shift and up, which could be very useful when creating rhythms. So let's create a couple of notes here now and create a rhythm. Okay. Dum, dum, dum. Dum, dum, dum. How about this? Let's see. I can't really hear. I'm gonna just do this. Okay, that's a little rhythm there. Dum, 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 dum. Dum, 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 dum. So let's think of every step as a 16th note. And now I'm going to create a key of there. Let's say. So if I want this, dum, 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 dum. If I just want it to be that short, like a really short little sequence, I could create a little jump here in the effects lane. There's a lot of stuff there. In fact, we can change the pitch, we can glide, we can do several things. I'm going to go all the way till the end where it says break, jump. And let's listen to it now. It's looping because I told it to break here. Yeah, how about that? Nice. Yeah, cool. The thing is now, everything is set up. If I want to capture another type of sound, I can just move this now and say, well, I'm going to capture the square pulse wave. How about that? That's pretty cool. How about the sine wave? Nice and soft. How about this one? That makes me think, like, what if we could automate this knob? Instead of doing this live with my hand, maybe we could put in the sequencer, like doing something like this. Absolutely, we could do that. Because we've got the modulation section that this one is not used yet. So we could use this and send that to this pulse width modulation input. So let's do that. Right now it's not doing anything because we haven't told it to. Okay, let's see. Not doing anything. But if we do it here, we check this lane, the modulation. Let's do something. Shift and right. Let's see what values we have first. Just gonna, yeah, it's like values, goes pretty high. Okay, and then at some point it starts becoming notes instead, so it starts over. So note is a nice way to understand pitch because of octaves and stuff. The hexadecimal values there could be a bit difficult to understand in the beginning. So let's say we go from C0. Let's call it C0. I think that is the, yeah, that is the lowest value. And then on every new note, we're going to set a new value. So this, yeah, it's sending a different modulation value there. And then 5, another 8, 9. Okay, let's see what this does now. Going from a low value, a low octave, too high, maybe the relative. Okay, so it's actually relative to the knob position. So I'm sending in a value that is exceeding what it could do. So let's put the knob position there and say that the first is going to be a full nice tone, which I think is in the middle somewhere. There. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, how about that? I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, nice. I want to show this lane as well. This is the effects lane. There's a lot of stuff going on there. You might have seen that I flashed through the glide, CV glide. What that is doing is portamento. So let's turn on CV glide somewhere here. See what it sounds like. I'm gonna turn it on here. Let's see. Where is it? It's in the beginning somewhere. Glide CV. Let's see. It's not doing anything because it's glide CV with a value of 0. I'm gonna increase the value to 1. So we can have a little. If we just want it only there, then we need to turn it off here and set the value to 0. Because these values, they set the values and then they stay there until you tell it to do something else. Okay, so let's put some drums on this, shall we? Actually, that's pretty cool with this particular module is that it's not only sequencer, you can also use drums on it, but we need to load in some drum samples first. I'm just going to use what was on the card when it came. I haven't even gotten to the place where I put my own sounds on it. So let's go to setup, go down to the load samples, press OK, and we can see the 12 sample slots here. They're all empty. Well, number one, let's check this out. Bass drum looks like that. So perhaps a 626 hi-hat or cymbal, 626 cowbell, 626 snare drum. Okay, in order to play these, we also need to connect the sound outputs of samples 7 and 8 here, or at least one of them, the one we're going to use. So let's do that. Sample, is it long enough? Yeah, I think so. Sample 7 is going to input. I put it there. I'm going to go to the pattern again, to the sequencer again. So right now we have this going on. Nice. In order to sequence some drums now, samples from within here, I'm going to head over to track number 8 or 7 or 8. We can see down here, these are modular. This is a sample. So number 7, I'm going to create a pattern there. It's going to become pattern number 1. And this pattern is going to be unique to the sample, to the sample tracks. So this pattern number 1 is not going to be able to play that on the modular tracks because it's not sharing the same parameters. So pattern number 1 there, I'm going to press OK to open it, and it looks almost the same, just slightly different. You can see a little less columns here or lanes, and over here we can see what samples are loaded. So let's press here a sample and put it there, and like that. I'm going to press OK, see if we can make it sound. So by pressing OK, we can preview the sound that the cursor is currently on. So I want to create some kick drums here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Was that? Yeah, that was a bit. There you go. Okay. So I'm going to press start. I'm going to create one there as well. One there. Press start. Yeah, got a kick drum. By pressing shift and stop, I reset the timer, and then pressing only start is going to press play on only this pattern. That could be a good way to just isolate this and try it out. But if I press shift and start together, it's going to play everything that is on the same row here. So right now we've got two patterns on the same row. Shift and start. But this pattern is currently not looping like the other one was. So let's create the same loop. Break jump. There we go. Shift and start. Yeah. How about that? Okay, I'm gonna create a little hi-hat in between the kick drums on the same track and see what it feels like. And we can see the different lanes here. We can see this is called note, this is called sample, this is volume. So I'm gonna change the sample to another sample. Let's press it. How about that? I'm gonna maybe increase the pitch. Yeah. How about that? Create some hi-hats. Ooh, it didn't copy. C, G. How about that? Let's play. Yeah. Yeah. We got something going on. Okay. I'm gonna go now quickly out to the sequencer, over to track 8 now, which is the second sample player, sample track, and press OK. It's gonna create a new pattern there. We're gonna enter that, and let's find the snare drum, sample number 3 there. Snare drum. Okay, I'm gonna try it. Well, we can't hear it because it's on a different channel. So I'm gonna take number 8 there, send it to yet another place in the mixer, and try it. Yeah. How about this? Right now I'm feeling like I would actually like to live record. How would we do that? Well, let's connect a keyboard and see if we can do some live recording with the keyboard. I'm going to use the MIDI cable here. MIDI out. Connect it to the MIDI in. Give it some power. It'd be really nice if we could play this live now and be able to punch it in real time. So let's try to achieve that, just that. Right now, MIDI is going from this one and in there. I'm gonna set this to MIDI channel number 1, just to make sure that I know which MIDI channel it's communicating on. And now we're gonna do some. We're gonna have to set stuff up. I'm gonna go to. It's here in the project. I'm going to go down to input record setup. Okay, so on this page we've got lots of different settings, MIDI channel and stuff. The first thing we want to set to on is MIDI data input. Press shift and on. So now it's recognizing MIDI, and this needs to be set up in order for any MIDI to be used. Okay, let's say that channel number 8 is going to live record. Okay, channel number 8, MIDI channel number 8 is going to do the following. Shift, track 8, record. Okay, so whenever MIDI channel number 8 is used, it can be used to live record on track number 8. Actually, I want to do one more thing. I want to do step channel. I want to set step channel to 1. What that means is that whenever MIDI channel number 1 is going to be used, I can use that step by step to input notes through the keyboard. But right now, I want to see if live recording works. So, I'm going to go out here into track number 8. Okay, let's go in there. And actually, first, let's see if this shift 1, MIDI track number 1, see if it works. Ooh. So right now, we can very quickly now input notes. This is very convenient. Yeah, okay. So how about track number, MIDI channel number 8? I'm gonna delete that, delete that. Okay, it's also playing. So if I just play this now, shift and start. I should be able to punch in the kick drums now. So let's do that. Let's press everything and start. I'm gonna press shift and record. It says record up there. Okay. How about that? Shift and record. That means that we could do the same thing for the other track that we were on earlier. So for instance, I'm going to get out here and go to track number 1 there. But in order to do that, we need to set up the track that will live record on track number 1. So I'm going to go into the project here, input, and say, actually I'm going to turn off the step channel input. I'm going to say that step channel input should be channel number 9, which is outside of the 8 tracks. And then MIDI channel number 1 will do record on track 1. Okay. Track number 1. Ooh. Okay, so let's mess around with this. Okay, I want to overdub on this and see if we can mess it up. But before doing that, I want to make sure I have a copy of this pattern. So in order to copy and duplicate a pattern, I'm going to go to a place far away from this one and press shift and right. Okay, until I type in the same pattern number. And in order to duplicate that, I'm going to press shift and OK on that. You remember that pressing shift and OK on an empty place will create a new pattern. Pressing it shift and OK on an actual pattern will duplicate it or clone it. If I go into this one now, okay, it's a clone, it's its own thing. And this one is the original. So this way I know that I have one to come back to. Okay, so let the fun begin. I'm going to go in here into this pattern. Just play for a bit first. So just start it. You know what I'm going to do actually? I'm going to take this whole the break that I made there, it's making it very short. I'm going to delete that, shift and delete. I'm going to mark this whole thing, shift and mark this whole page like so. Press shift and mark again. It's now been copied. Go to the next page there. Let's see. Page there and shift and copy. I'm going to go to the next page, shift and copy. Next page, shift and copy. So now it's a longer pattern, So in order to make some improvisation over it and record that, it doesn't have to be very short anymore and be very repetitive. So shift and start. Okay, I'm ready. Shift and record. Yeah, D, cool. Oops. Okay. And play. And now we quickly created a really fun groove there, didn't we? Yeah, this is fun. Yeah, I like this. So let's take a look at the graphics here now out in the sequencer. Yeah. One thing I want to create now, can we create some sort of chords here? And I want to create these old school kind of arpeggio chords and try that. So I'm going to do that by making use of what's called tables and another oscillator over here. It's just going to be two oscillators, the samples internally, and with a second oscillator I hope to create some sort of arpeggio chords. Let's try it. Okay, so let's use track number 2 there. Actually, before going any further, I want to show you how to save. Let's go to the project page and go to save as. Okay, let's name it to demo jam. How about that? And ready. Dish. So now it's saving all the data, and it's not duplicating the samples. I don't think so. I think it's just references. Okay, so let's create a whole new pattern on track number 2 there. Okay, pattern number 5. Enter that. Okay, so let's also go into the project, go into the record setup. Okay, I'm going to set up MIDI channel 2 to correspond to track 2 record. Yeah. So this way we can go to MIDI channel number 2 on the keyboard and play it live, but it's not going anywhere, so we need to set it up. We need to get busy. So how about this? Brown. Barely made it. Okay, that's okay. So track number 2 is going to go to this. I'm going to send this sound. I'm going to use a triangle. Send it up here into the mixer. Okay. Ooh, it's going to be so nice. Also, this sound into the envelope, and this going to go out from the envelope into that. And we want to capture the trig signal into the envelope gate. Okay. We probably need to tune these two to have the same tune. So okay, so it's working. I just got carried away. And by the way, if you can hear that, if it's not exactly an octave, it's because I've actually never calibrated these oscillators. There's a calibration little knob there, and I just haven't calibrated them. So it's slightly off. It's just about the calibration. Okay, so tables. What is a table? let's make a table. First, I'm gonna press channel number 9 to create a note there. I'm gonna create a note that is very long, like super long. I don't know. Okay, and then we go to the table there. Let's say we use table number 0. Okay, if I press table now, while this is selected, I'm going to go into that table. And what a table is, it's a sub sequencer, and it's it got 3 different lanes here, and these are steps in time. The first lane is actually called hop. And what it's doing is that whenever you enter a value there, it's going to hop to a different place. For instance, if you enter the value 0, it's going to hop to line number 0. The next one is transpose, which is transposing the relative pitch of the note that is currently being played. So 0 would be no transpose, and 2 would be a whole step. 3 would be 1, 2, 3. 7 would be what's it called? A fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So that would be a little minor chord there. So 1, 2, 3. If we set this one to 0 and see how it's behaving now, I'm going to go to the pattern again and see. Let's put out a couple of notes here. I'm gonna just and you can say that it's doing something here. It's creating a gate, and or actually a trig, and the trig is like super short. Oops. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark these and delete them, and then I'm gonna create the same behavior, the same table, and use them on every note and see what it sounds like. Start. Woo! I like it. So if I manually type this in, the stop there, let's see if it's following that rule. How about that? Isn't it beautiful? So I hope you understand what's happening now. It's playing this note, but it's following the rules of the table. And the table number 0 says play an arpeggiated minor chord. Yeah. So that's what it's doing. And now it's just up to us to make any sense of it. It's going to mark this. I'm going to mark it like that and delete it. And I'm going to practice a little bit. I'm going to set this to be MIDI channel number 2, so I could just play it. And I'm going to play it. I'm going to do something like that. And then afterwards, I'm going to put in some of those tables. So let's do it. Start. Record. Okay, so it's recording now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So, where would we like the tables? How about the first one? And as you can hear, once we tell it to use the table, it's continuing to using the table until we tell it otherwise. Shift and down will eventually come to this place, so where it looks like 2 little space invaders. Okay, again. Down. Okay, table 0. No. Da-da. Da-da. Table 0. Again here. Okay. Yeah, okay. I think this is a lot of fun. This is stuff that it makes me a bit happy. Cool. Well, that is nice. So now we use the modulation here to control the aspects of a sound. We can also use that to control anything else. We sent this, for instance, to control an envelope, but we could also send it to control something completely different. So, in fact, if we connect all of this now to a delay, well, I happen to have a delay here. Let's send it over here to the mimeophone, and then take the audio, record it from the mimeophone. Let's see what we have here. So if we want to change the delay time, this basically, we could do it from the sequencer. So how would do that? We'd let's make it its own track for that. CV. Just send the CV value straight to this. Then we can have a CV value tell it to kind of do this whenever we want it to do that. We could even send like a modulation CV to tell it to mix it, to tell it to like, okay, take it in, take it out. Let's try that. So, okay, sequencer, track number 3, right? Yeah. And create a new one. And okay, I'm gonna head into this pattern. And first of all, let's send a CV signal for this to open up and see if it works. And this is currently on the modulation output. So it means I need to go here to the modulation and create a value. I like the note values because it's easy for me to relate to what a low and high value is. So let's create a really high value now and see if it's indeed opening up. Yeah, it is. A low value. It's very low. I can go lower. Let's create the lowest value. Yeah. So the lowest tone that is possible to play is C0, and that equals 0. I want to open it up on the snare drum. So on this, I want to open it. So let's do that. Maybe go halfway up to, maybe all the way up to see what it's like. Yeah. And then I'm going to close it again. We were at C0. Yeah. Maybe not open it all the way up. This value was very, very high. I'm gonna take the value down a bit. Even more. What? Okay, so maybe the first octave is the full scale here, that this is... Okay. Or maybe actually this. Oh, okay. Actually, this was set to offset. I didn't talk about this before. And, yeah, so I don't want to change it now because I'm going to change something else. So I'm going to keep this a low value now, for now. Let's see. Let's... Yeah. So that creates a momentary window to the delay engine there. Maybe also bring some halo in. Yeah, so then I could take this here, shift mark to copy it, And then I'm going to place this on every new pattern by shift and copy. A new page, sorry. Let's see. Start. There's one more thing I want to show you. So we created something on just one line here, right? If we create something on a second line, if we create a second pattern there now, and we play this, start. I'm gonna play this first. And then immediately it's gonna play the other one there. And it's basically creating a chain. So everything that is linked together like this, and by linked together I mean that it's just being the next step. If there is something on the next step here in the sequencer, it's going to play that next, and that becomes a chain. This is empty, so it's not going to play that. So it's just going to play these two. If there was one more here now, like this, it's going to play these three. Playing that first. 1, 2, and 3, 4. There's a bit odd. Just a scrap one. And then this one. So basically, this is like a super simple way to create chains. So if you need some extra space there is a nifty feature. You can, for instance, go into Mark, go out of Mark. Now you've copied this empty patch there, and then press Shift and copy. That would just place it there. But Shift and down and copy. Just place it there while also pushing everything down. Shift and down and copy. Push it down and place it there. And also Shift and delete will just delete anything that is under the cursor. But Shift and up and delete. The delete and make like the delete button on the keyboard. So these are two nifty features there. Well, I'm not gonna make a whole song here, but this is basically what I wanted to show you. And I think it's a really fun sequencer to make really precise arrangements. And with this chain function, it's very simple to just play one chain here, Shift and start. And then maybe you have a chain down here. And you want to press Shift and start there, and it will queue up and play whenever this is done, like so. Shift and start. It's flashing there. But these are not being played because there is no new instruction for them to play. So they just keep playing that. So if you want them to be silent, it's better to create like a totally empty pattern. Fake. Okay. And cue this up. 1, 2, 3, 4. But this is a short one. It's looping. Yeah. That's what I wanted to show you today. The NerdSeq, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else. I really like this. This is part of my heritage of creating electronic music trackers. I still like it. It's been so many years since I used trackers. I was like a teenager when I used it, and maybe a little bit in my 20s. But yeah, I think it really suits the modular workflow, especially if you want to do whole arrangement. Have like, if you're not very into creating stuff on the fly, I think it really shines when you're creating things, when you're composing things, sitting down, take your time. But as you can see, you can really do stuff with a keyboard, and and record that really quickly. Also, I think actually the mod wheel also works as sending out to the modulation. And yeah. So there you go. The NerdSeq. I like it. If you enjoy the stuff that I do here on YouTube, please consider throwing in some donations. I'm using a platform called Patreon. Patreon is a great platform for supporting independent artists, such as myself and others. And when I support others, I actually do it because I value their work, not because I want any cool stuff in return. I already get that from the videos and the contents that they're creating. So yeah, I really like this platform. It's a great way to show if you want to throw in some donation here and there. And it's on a monthly basis. It doesn't have to be much, like $1 or $2, maybe $3 if you want to. And every time I come out with such a video, it's going to be automatically billed by the end of the month. And you can set your monthly maximum, so it doesn't have to go overboard when I go to the NAMM show and post like 10 videos or something. Now you're in charge of how much you want to donate, so don't worry about it. And thank you everyone for doing that. That is creating a lot of opportunities for me to keep doing this stuff. And also today I actually want to celebrate because earlier tonight my channel grew a little bit constantly over time, and I've been doing this for many years, but 100,000 people have clicked my subscribe button, and I'm very thankful for that. So thank you so much. Thank you. Seriously, thank you. This is not like a mainstream channel, so really I'm so thankful that people want to learn how to create synthesizers. Yeah, people that care about this stuff, and you're most welcome to stay around on my channel. Thank you so much for your support over all these years. Yeah, so more cuckoo to follow in the coming year. Looking forward to it. Peace out, everyone. See you soon.